our creed to break the chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, wild and free, bows and arrows, cold 45's decree. No more tyranny, no more lies, under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night. Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near. We'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite. Horses thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might. Strength in numbers, strength in rise. On the blood moon, we unite. Horses thunder in the night.
Welcome, my fellow tribe of patriots. If you guys haven't noticed already, I know some of you guys are pretty quick to notice this, but I did change my background here. I was able to shift the room around and make it a little bit more livable. So this is just a bonus room in the house. So that is now my office and guest room. So we had to accommodate some people, and I had to make some changes. But today on this episode of Cowboys and Indians, it's just the Indian. It's just me. Steve is out sick. He apparently caught what I had last week down in Texas, and that's okay. You know, I feel like we're all allowed to be sick, and he needed some time to take care of himself. So, Steve, I hope you feel better. I'm sorry you're not feeling good. Over the weekend, we had quite a bit of news come out. First and foremost, the sports ball championship was this weekend. I was pulling for the Chiefs strictly because of Holden Armenta and well, actually the entire Armenta family, which if you guys didn't know, are currently still in a lawsuit with Deadspin, I believe it is, for basically slandering a 9-year-old kid, Holden Armenta. He was accused by Karen Phillips of wearing blackface and appropriating Native American culture. Turns out he is Native American, and so is his family, and he was just celebrating his team. Last year, we started a fundraiser and were able to get him and his father, Bubba Armenta, to the Super Bowl, which was really cool. I hear that they did not actually make it to the Super Bowl this year, though. I am still in contact with them, so hopefully I can stay in contact with them for a long time because they're my kind of people, my kind of patriots. So I was rooting for the Chiefs. Kind of fell asleep halfway through the game because I'm just not that interested in football anymore, unfortunately. I think the best part of the game, though, was when they showed Donald Trump. And kind of the really fascinating part of this, and something that I would like to share with you guys as well, is that during the national anthem, and although I kind of feel like they butchered the national anthem, not that he didn't sing it well or that he doesn't have the right to sing it like that, but I feel like there should be a certain amount of traditional, like a traditional aspect to the song itself. And when you change it too much and you try to make it your own too much, I think it ruins it. Am I right? I don't know. But that's just the way I feel about it. But I did want to share this little tidbit with you.
They specifically chose to show him on the word fight because of the fight reaction. I don't know how many people know that. It's super scripted, every shot in the Super Bowl like that. They went to Trump in the box. I haven't seen anybody else point it out. I know this to be true. Listen one more time when you start to hear when that camera goes to Trump. I haven't seen anybody else point this out. Listen.
Broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the rain.
Now again, they were intentionally evoking Trump standing and saying fight, fight, fight right after the assassination attempt by showing him during that particular line of the anthem. Again, I haven't seen anybody else point this out, but I thought that was really well done. they
That is really well done. And in all reality, it's something that I missed. And I know that it's I mean, it kind of seems like most people missed it because I haven't seen anybody point this out. I don't even know where this podcast clip came from, but it was a really good point to bring up that Donald Trump, or they showed Donald Trump right when they said fight. And which is a great thing because hey, he changed history by avoiding that assassination attempt. And it showed his true spirit when he stood right back up and said, fight, fight, fight. I know that changed a lot of people's minds on how they see Trump, just because it's not something you get to fake. That's not something that you can really stage. I know a lot of people will say that it's staged, but anybody who knows anything about guns knows for a fact that you can't stage a shot like that to hit somebody's ear from 150 yards out. You just can't do it. So, but it was really cool that they were able to highlight that during the game, albeit, it was very, very subtle. And as far as I know, they only showed Trump once. Seemed like they kind of wanted to keep politics out of it, but it was pretty cool that they were able to highlight that moment and invoke that fight mentality. So, W for the many losses by the Super Bowl, because holy crap, that they sung the Black National Anthem, and I mean everybody thinks that well, not everybody, most people think that that's divisive because a national anthem by definition is supposed to be the national anthem, meaning all the citizens of the country, not white citizens, because now they have the Black National Anthem that they always play, and it's like I will never understand that, and hopefully by the end of Trump's second term, that will be gone, because you already saw. I mean, if you did watch the Super Bowl and you were able to kind of look at the various commercials inside of it, there were a lot more masculine and a lot more patriotic commercials in it, because I think these companies kind of understand that the woke aspect is dying off. There were still a couple. I know Nike and Dove did a couple of woke commercials, but they were still they were tolerable, right? They weren't outlandishly insane. But yeah, it seems like a lot of people didn't watch the game. It's just, it is what it is. And I don't blame anybody for that, because I mean, it was the first full game that I watched all year, because I'm just not that into football anymore. I get incredibly irritated, and I'm glad that they didn't have it this time, but usually in the end zone, they have on one side it says it takes all of us, and then on the other side it says end racism. And it really bugs me watching a bunch of black millionaires. I mean, black Americans make up, I think, 53% of the NFL, while only being 14% of the population. So if you were trying to say, if there's a representation issue, it's not in the NFL. And I don't need to be told to end racism while I'm watching these millionaire black Americans who are overrepresented play sports ball and make 10, 20 times the amount of money that I make, or more, yearly. It seems crazy to me that they still are kind of on that, and hopefully that changes. And I mean, the only way we can really change it is to make the NFL feel it in their pockets, and people have to stop watching the NFL in order for that to happen. So I kind of contributed to, I was played a little bit because I was told that there was going to be some Doge commercials. X had some fake news going around on it saying that that Elon Musk spent his own money to put Doge commercials into the Super Bowl. I don't even know where it came from. I just saw a bunch of people saying it, so I was like, all right, I'm pretty excited for this. I want to see what they have to say, and maybe they'll inform some I just got a comment from Cherry saying, is anyone else having issues? I tried Rumble and now X. Well, I hope that there's not too many issues, because I mean, I know my internet's bad, but it should be able to handle this. I haven't had any issues streaming too much with that, but hopefully not. I'm sorry if there is. If you continue having issues, please let me know. But Rumble shouldn't. It's rare that Rumble actually has issues like that. So, but anyway, moving on. Next week, the Patriots Prayer Network is flying out to DC to go to CPAC. That will be very, very cool. I'm pretty excited to go. Apparently I still need to get some clothes because I don't have any nice shirts or anything to go hang out with and interview a lot of these, big wig suits and ties and see what they have to say about Doge and their feelings on what's happening in Washington State, which many of you guys know, Washington State is where I live. And right now they are, I mean, they've been doing it for a while. They've targeted children for many years now, but they're trying to pass a bill that basically removes parents from the decision-making ability of children. As long as kids go to school or doctors or therapists or get involved in the judicial system, basically from age 13 on, the parents lose rights and the child then gets to decide. So if anybody is able to successfully groom a child, they then get the rights to guide the child as opposed to the parents. They can overrule the parents, if you will, as long as they convince the child, which is very, very, very wrong. And it's something that I've talked about for a long time. I mean, years ago, they passed Senate Bill 5599, which basically allowed and incentivized state-sanctioned kidnapping. They have passed laws that now have integrated medical systems into public schooling. So not only can children be groomed into believing that they're the opposite sex, but now the state workers don't have any obligation to inform the parents. And now they're making it almost illegal for state workers to inform the parents. So Washington State is quickly becoming a sanctuary for pedophiles and groomers, where if they will be fully protected by the state to groom children and get them gender affirming care, to get them sterilized, or to even house them, which is crazy because at 13 years old, it is perfectly legal for a child to run away from home and be housed in a host home. All you have to do is apply to the government and say, hey, I want to be a host home. And I mean, years ago, one of the people on the board that approves who gets to be a host home was a pedophile. So it's Washington State's so unbelievably bad. And I know that Elon Musk had just tweeted out not that long ago that, let's see if I can pull it up here real quick. Actually, we're going to pause that. So Elon Musk tweeted that, we'll pull it up on the screen. So he says, just learned that the Social Security database is not deduplicated, meaning you can have the same Social Security number many times over, which further enables massive fraud. Your tax dollars are being stolen, which is true. Now, what I had said to this is I wonder how that plays into the universal mail-in ballots that Washington State mandated back in 2011. I'm getting over a sickness, Ronnie. It is what it is. I don't get sick too often, but sometimes you can't avoid it. I had a horrific migraine last week. I actually called out from work. I didn't do anything. I could barely look at light. So, and it lasted all day. It was crazy. But I've had headaches and migraines since I was a kid, and so every once in a while it comes at me. But I'm feeling better. So, let's see, MD James. I'm shocked to tell you that child rapists would make it legal. And that's exactly what they're doing. And not only that, I mean, they are protecting these groomers and pedophiles Because in the legislation in Senate Bill 5599, something that I've literally been talking about and yelling about for years, there's no protections for the children. All it is protections for the groomers and enabling children to become sterilized or receive gender affirming care surgery, or I hate calling it gender affirming care because it's not care in any way, shape, or form. It is literally mutilation, be it hormones or surgical. It's insane. And I don't know how this has been taken seriously for so long. It grosses me out. All right, I got a production quality here. Now, I'm going to highlight a guy here. So this is the Pacific Northwest Conservative. Okay. So his handle is @UnderWashington. This guy's been, he's been at this and pointing a lot of this stuff out. But this is Senate Majority Leader Jamie Peterson, has made national headlines for his comments about parents having no rights. And this is I want to explain this to you guys. This isn't like an outlier in Washington State. This is how the Democrats feel. And now they feel comfortable enough to have their Senate Majority Leader come out and say this on TV in an interview. So let's go ahead and watch this.
Kids over 13 have the complete right to make their own decisions about their mental health care. Parents don't have a right to have notice. They don't have a right to have consent about that.
I don't know how you can even say that. What he basically said there is at 13 years old, parents lose the right to parent their children. They're still under full obligation to pay for whatever their child decides to do, of course, but they're not allowed to know. They'll just get the bill later, which is horrific. And it's crazy for him to come out and say that parents don't have the right to anything about their child, because in all reality, parents are the only ones who have the rights, because a child at that age cannot consent. They cannot consent. So I'll play it for you guys one more time, just in case you missed it, because this is it's short, but it's very, very important.
13 kids over 13 have the complete right to make their own decisions about their mental health care. Parents don't have a
He's basically saying that children at 13 can consent.
right to have notice. They don't have a right to have consent about that.
You can't say that. You can't say that a child at 13 years old has any right over their parents. Their parents have all the rights. You know who's not even allowed to talk to a minor in any serious form? Police. The police cannot question a minor without the adult present. They can't even go see an R-rated movie, but they're allowed to make permanent life-altering medical decisions without their parents' knowledge or consent. They're writing this into law as we speak. And this guy is something else. He should get a full investigation as soon as possible, because it looks like he's in. Okay, I posted this a little bit earlier. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Oh, it gets worse. He says worse things in this interview, by the way. I'll show you another clip right now before I pull up his profile. Okay. So this is from that same interview. Listen up. This is important.
If they're old enough to get pregnant, they're old enough to make their own decisions about what happens with their bodies. Okay? And parents do not have the right to change that.
He said this in an interview, knowing full well that this is going to be out there forever. This is how the Democrats feel about kids. And when the right wing and the Republicans have been saying they're coming for your children, this is what we mean. This is exactly what we mean, because they're now saying it explicitly. Listen again.
If they're old enough to get pregnant, they're old enough to make their own decisions.
What in the hell? He is now saying he's conflating biological, a child going through puberty. He's bringing in biology into this, saying that if you go through puberty, then you're allowed to consent, is basically what he's saying. That you now have the rights over your parents. And in my mind, when I hear that, I hear a pedophile justifying that old argument, if it bleeds, it can breed, which is just 100% pedophile talk. There's no other way around this. And not only that, this guy, and so I went to his profile here. So his profile, Steve is sick right now. I'm sorry, he cannot make it. He is not feeling good. What the hell's wrong with these people? Their brain should be a science product. This mentality needs to be stopped immediately. This should never be taken seriously by anybody. This guy should be locked away. Not only that, he posted this on his profile back in 2022, okay? His @handle is at people, the number 4, Peterson. That's PEDERSEN, okay? I posted this up on my Twitter, and he said participating in the Pride Parade with a bunch of minors. So he brought a bunch of kids to a Pride Parade and is now arguing that if you go through puberty, you can consent. This guy, I can't call him a pedophile, but it seems like he has to argue why he's not a pedophile when he's taking children to pride events, which are inherently sexual. That's just what pride events are. They are inherently sexual. Everything about a pride movement is sexual. If you go through the letters of LGBTQ, you have to explain that guys are... You can't get around explaining sexuality. So when you take a child or multiple children to a pride event, and I'll show you. Let's take a look and see here. Let's see what goes on at this Seattle Pride events. This is when was this? This is last June. So last summer, okay? This is a Seattle Pride event. Look at it. Children, naked folks. These are pedophiles. And now we have the representatives coming out and saying that children can consent once they hit puberty. It's a mainstream argument from the Democrats now. So not only have they been openly exposing themselves to children on camera for years, now they're arguing it to put it into law. These people need to be locked up. And yeah, I think that we're going to need some kind of federal intervention for this. I know that we're supposed to be against big government, which in all reality I am. But if we want to have a peaceful revolution, then we need some kind of federal intervention to stop this shit from happening. This is crazy. It's been happening at these pride events for years, and now they're writing it into law that the groomers and pedophiles are going to have more rights than parents as long as they convince the child. If they're successful in their grooming, they now get more rights than the parents. That's crazy. And it needs to change. And not only that, the Washington State Democrats are literally writing into law that the schools won't even need to inform the parents if their child is a victim of rape through House Bill 1189, a bill that would prevent schools. Oh wait, okay, no, this is a different bill. Oh my gosh, there's so many bills to go through here. It's. I feel like in Washington State, I don't have a voice. I don't have any kind of representation at all. And they now want to triple the property tax on our houses. Why? Because they spend too much freaking money. They've been blowing out the budget for years and years. And now they want to take more money from me to spend on housing runaway children that were groomed, giving rights to pedophiles, saying that we're a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state for these people. By the way, this law, Senate Bill 5599, that was passed years ago, this isn't just for Washington kids. This is for kids that can run away to Washington State. 13 years old. They can be housed in a host home. And the state doesn't have any obligation to tell the parents, to inform the parents how long they're going to be gone, what kind of care they're receiving. The state can just take the kid and then sterilize them without the parents' knowledge or consent. I can't express my hatred for these people enough. And I don't know how this is not national news every single day right now. I don't know why Donald Trump isn't talking about this. This is horrific. When a Washington State Democrat, the Senate Majority Leader of the Democrats, comes out and says if a child can get pregnant, then they get to consent and make their own decisions on what happens with their body. Insane. Let me play it for you guys again. I know this might be getting annoying, and I'm sorry, but if you're just joining in, listen up. This is the Senate Majority Leader.
If they're old enough to get pregnant, they're old enough to make their own decisions about what happens with their bodies.
They're arguing for pedophilia right in front of our faces. He's talking about minors, 13 years old, as long as they're going through puberty, then they can make their own decisions, which is conflating consent. This is pedophilic. This is grooming. This is something that should be shunned from society. He should be removed from his office and never be able to run for public office again. But I don't know how else to draw attention to this, because every time I make a post about it, I haven't even gotten 10,000 views. I can't even hit 10% of my followers with posts like this. It's so sickening. This guy should definitely be investigated. He's been taking children, because he's if you go to his page, if you go to his main page, I'll pull it up here. His first post, his pinned post here, is him bragging about being a Boy Scout leader. Look at this. And he took them to a pride event. Why? Why is he doing that? And now he's arguing that if you go through puberty, you can consent. Somebody check on those children. Because this man he's a sick man. He should not be able to run. He should not be in government at all. We need to shun people like this from society. Please get the word out on this guy. Share this. Do anything to make it so the people actually can see just how bad Washington State is becoming. That we now have folks like Jamie Peterson arguing that children can consent at 13 years old, that they get to override their parents, that if pedophiles and groomers are successful, they have more rights than parents over the child. He should be in prison. I agree. This kind of argument should land jail time. There's no reason for somebody like this to have any kind of a following or to be in any kind of leadership role. He needs to be removed from society and shunned. He needs to be removed, not society, from public office ASAP. But no, he's a Senate Majority Leader. Insane. What's the link to the video? I will post the link underneath. Let's see, what platform are you on? You're on YouTube? I'm going to post the link in the comment right now. I'll put it right under the video in the first comment. Because I have I almost have 170,000 followers right now on YouTube, or not YouTube, on X, right? And I don't know how else to get this message out. I don't know how much more I can stand this. I'll be going to my first rally this weekend at the Capitol Steps for Parents' Rights, because this has got to stop. We cannot allow this. For one, the government doesn't have the ability to take rights like that. It only has the ability to it is the duty of the government to protect rights. And what they're doing right now with something like this is infringing, not just on the rights of the parents, because the parents aren't even the ones that are going to be affected in the long run. Well, I mean, they will, but it's infringing the rights of the child. The child is supposed to have the obvious protection of the parents. And when you strip the rights from the parents to be able to protect the child, then what you're doing is leaving the parents no other option than to violently disregard any kind of law put in place. Because it is on my X feed, Sherry. And I'm not calling for mass violence over this. Right? I'm not calling for another Luigi to take out one representative. I would never do that. But what I'm saying is the inevitable outcome of the government overstepping parents' rights like this and believing that they can take the rights away from parents is that there will be a situation eventually where the wrong child gets taken and a John Wick style father decides to enact revenge on whoever he sees fit. And I don't see how it's prevented when you're overstepping rights like this, and you're overstepping boundaries. There's no way to justify the state or pedophiles and groomers having more rights than parents over their children, having the legal backing of the state to take their children away is insane. And it will end up in somebody pushing back when they take their child away. It's inevitable. I hope that never happens. I hope that these laws are so ridiculous that this doesn't come to a conclusion of that nature. But there's going to be a time where they mess with the wrong kid. I mean, look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk says that the woke mind virus killed his son. Not everybody has billions of dollars to fight back against this. And if their son gets taken by the state and the son was all that they had, you're taking everything from a father. You're taking away their legacy. You're taking away the future. The only thing that can come with you to heaven is your children. You can't take your cars. You can't take your guns. You can't take your fancy house. You can't take anything like that. The only thing that gets to come with you to heaven is your children. Hopefully long after you get there. But if the state decides that they have more rights and they start taking children away under the guise of woke transgenderism, I don't see how good men stand idly by. I don't see how a father stands idly by. I've spoken with great lengths about this to a lot of people who are apolitical, I would say, or who intentionally do their best to avoid politics. And I've literally heard the same answer. I've heard them say, I have guns for that very reason. Well, that makes sense. So what to do about it? Well, I'm going to try and get in contact with as many people as I can come this Friday or this Saturday when we have the parents' rights rally. Here, I'll pull it up. There's a rally happening at the Washington State Capitol for parents' rights this Saturday at noon. And you bet your ass I'm going to be there. And this is going to be one of the first political rallies that I've ever gone to. It's a fight rally for parents' rights. The state capitol, North Steps, February 15th at noon. So I'm hoping that I can get in contact with some people there and start helping out and make things happen, make a shift. And you're right. It is child trafficking. It is state-sanctioned child trafficking. And I think one of the scary parts is that the 300,000 plus missing children that were trafficked into this country during the last 4 years, during the Biden administration, I think that they would be covered under this law to be basically kidnapped by the state. I don't think they don't have any protections in this state. So if they were trafficked into Washington, as long as they're told to say the right things, that they're trans or gay or whatever it is, then the state can basically do whatever they want with them, or they can claim that they're trans or bi or gay or whatever the requirements are for that law to take place, which is incredibly sad. I'm going to have a whole posse. So I'm going to have more than just myself there. So I feel like I'm going to be safe, but it's necessary. So I'm definitely going to go. I know that we don't have Steve here today, but we do have a sponsor for today, and actually for the foreseeable future, that is going to hopefully help us make a big difference in how we vote with our dollar instead of just voting on paper. I know that Washington State has universal mail-in ballots, which is a huge waste of time, and it feels like we're being cheated out of every solution we come up with, and a peaceful resolution is, or a peaceful revolution is almost impossible with the universal mail-in ballot system that we got here. But one of the most effective things that you can possibly do to help change this country for the better is to vote with your dollar. And the way to do that is to buy American products. So one of our new sponsors is Shop with America. I want to give them a shout out before it gets too late. I know we're already 40 minutes in, so I do got to do this, you guys. If you just want to take a couple seconds here, watch this ad, I would really appreciate it. And go to shopwithamerica.us. Let them know that the Patriots Prayer Network sent you. That would be very helpful.
Welcome to Shop with America, where the emphasis is on America. Our movement is to switch away from your shopping with the big box stores and the mega corporations back to supporting family-owned, made in America. We've been giving these big box stores our money every day for years. But what's happened is they've forced many small businesses to shut down. We call this the illusion of choice. We see all these products in these stores, but in reality, it's only a few companies that control it all. There are thousands of lawsuits for health damage because they put profit over our people. But there is another choice. We found a better way. There's a family-owned American factory with product integrity and have always done things the right way for the right reasons. And this company outperforms the big box stores. That's due to their month-to-month shopping club. They make everyday consumer products that we all use and buy again and again, like toothpaste, shampoo, coffee, and organic beef. Go to shopwithamerica.us today.
All right, you guys, you heard him. Go to shopwithamerica.us today. Let them know that the Patriots Prayer Network sent you. You can sign up right here. Facebook, shopwithamerica.us, or the Patriots Prayer Network, of course, the Patriots Prayer Network. Please let them know that we sent you there. This is going to be one of the biggest ways to make a change. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier with the Super Bowl as well, right? The only way to make the culture change itself, or these big companies, is to either stop watching so they stop getting advertising money, or vote with your dollar. Buy American products. And once you sign up there, you can buy American-made products, which is going to drastically improve not only our economy, but give you that feel-good feeling to support American companies. And it's time to start making drastic changes. Not only are we going to make America great again, but we are going to make America healthy again. That starts with your actions. Time to eat healthier, time to buy American, and that's how we're going to make this country great again. It's starts at the bottom and then works its way to the top. I know Trump has done a lot for this country and he's going to continue to do a lot, but in all reality, you guys, the changes are going to come from us. And the overwhelming, long-lasting changes is going to happen when we make a drastic change in our lives. When we decide to start spending our money, instead of buying overseas slavery products, we can buy American-made products here. Sometimes it's going to be more expensive, sometimes it's going to be less expensive. But I'll tell you what, in the long run, it's going to be worth it when we continue to buy American products and we end the overseas slavery. We always hear about folks talking about reparations for black people. America was built by black men and women and the slaves and blah, 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 and reparations and whatever. Well, guess what? There's still slavery happening this day, right now, overseas, and we're paying for it. Every time we buy these Chinese widgets, every time we buy any kind of an electronic with a battery in it, that cobalt was mined in the Congo by 9-year-olds. We are paying for slavery right now. Stop doing it. Start buying American. Buy used products and new products like toothpaste and bleach and house cleaner, whatever it is, buy American. So I'm really excited for this sponsor because I believe in it. Most of the products that I have always bought have been secondhand. I like buying used stuff. For one, you can buy it with cash, and then for two, the money stays here, and I don't have to pay for the slavery overseas. So, like, I have an iPhone, right? But it's a secondhand iPhone. I bought it used, so technically, I don't support the overseas slavery bullshit, but I mean, I'm still buying the product, but it doesn't go to that company. It doesn't go to anybody like that. So, yeah, I know it's a sponsor, but it's something I really believe in, and it goes beyond just what this website can offer. You know, it goes into changing your lifestyle and changing the way that we think about how we contribute to society and to the world. Because if we don't start changing our actions right now, then the next president, whoever gets in, if it's a Democrat, then all this shit's going to change again. A lot of this stuff is that Trump is enacting is through executive order, which means that it can go away in 4 years, and they can bring back a lot of this crap. Now, granted, Doge and Elon Musk, they're really exposing a lot of corruption and what they've been spending money on. I know that you guys have been following that. It's almost impossible to actually find everything that they're doing, but he did expose Elon Musk exposed over the weekend that just last week, 59 million of our tax dollars was spent in New York to house illegal criminal aliens in luxury hotels. This is just in New York, by the way. Who knows how much we spent in the entire country? Who knows? We're getting little drips here and there about exactly what is going on and what our tax dollars have been used for. And you know what really bugs me? Okay, let's see. Let's look this up. The Third Amendment. I want to get the wording exactly right. Okay. Okay, here it is. The Third Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, ratified on December 15th, 1791, prohibits the federal government from housing soldiers in private homes without the consent of the owner during peacetime. Okay? Now, the reason I bring this up is because we are being forced to pay taxes with a gun to our head, or by threat, I'll be more specific, by threat of jail time or prison time. We are forced to pay taxes to house criminal aliens. 59 million in 1 week in one city. $59 million FEMA transferred to spend on these criminal aliens to stay in luxury hotels. Does this violate the Third Amendment? Well, they're not technically soldiers. They could be. They could be foreign soldiers. They could be foreign assets. We don't know. And we are being forced to pay for them to be housed. Sounds like a bit of a stretch, but in all reality, these are private hotels being used. These are the public's domain, basically. To be forced by our tax dollars, we're being forced to pay for foreign assets to stay in these buildings. I feel like it has to be a violation, but they don't even care about the Constitution anymore. But my Lord, the amount of money being spent on this shit is insane. Yeah, it says, don't forget about condoms. You're right. $50 million we spent on condoms in Gaza is what they say. How much of that made it back into the pockets of our politicians? I don't know. I can't tell you exactly, but they wrote it off as $50 million in condoms. I would like to see the receipts. What company did they buy it from? Who'd they ship it with? Where did it get distributed to? Or did they just write it off? 50 million in condoms, but in all reality, it went to 50 different Democrats, all for $1 million each, or 49. So they actually spent like $1 million in condoms. Who knows? I don't have the, I haven't seen the receipts for it yet. I've just seen that we spent $50 million in condoms for the Gazan folk. And it's like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Thank you. Real American Royalty. What a name. What a wonderful name. I will do my best to stay true. I started speaking out once the government lockdowns happened. And I don't want to change that. I feel like we have this platform now where everyday Americans can now speak out. This is why I helped with Eddie, the co-creator of the Patriots Prayer Network. We now have several voices speaking out around the country that are all having the same common goal to in all reality, make America great again. But we've been fed for so long these, you know, I hate to pick on the Daily Wire because I really did like them for a long time. But someone like Ben Shapiro is so disconnected from reality that I don't see how my values align with his, because he has had a ton of money for a long time. Having money doesn't make you bad. Having money doesn't make you evil, but it definitely changes the way you live your day-to-day life. Now, I change industrial tires every day for a living. That's why I got all this crap on my hands and arms, and like I spent a long time trying to clean up. But look, my hands, they're worn. I got old man hands already. But our political pundits that we've been listening to for a long time, I'm not just picking on Ben Shapiro, okay? Even the news anchors, the Tucker Carlsons, right? I like Tucker Carlson, but they're so disconnected from what the day-to-day American lives. And they're kind of being told to kind of represent the feeling, as opposed to someone like me who lives it every single day. I live in a double-wide manufactured home. I work still. I cut my hours back to 55 hours or to 50 hours a week. 45 to 50 is what I shoot for now. And that's me cutting back hours because I'm finally making some money off of X, some money off of sponsors. You guys, that's why I brought them up earlier, because I'm able to supplement my income. Instead of working 80 hours a week, I can now work 45 to 50 and supplement most of the lost income that I have through X and through these sponsors. And it's so I can help spread awareness for shit like what's going on in Washington State, for trying my best to give an honest representation of what everyday Americans are going through. Well, contact me. If you want to start a podcast and if you want to be represented on the Patriots Prayer Network, contact me. And we'll see if we can work something out. Now, the thing is that like right now, it's not a legitimate network where we can pay you out. But what the Patriots Prayer Network offers is that for people starting up, we can help spread awareness and get your show noticed. And hopefully a clip of your show can go viral. Hopefully the voice of the everyday American can go viral. And hopefully we can actually start making a big difference. I mean, Elon Musk started this, okay? The billionaire Elon Musk decided to give conservative patriots a voice, to not get banned every time they say tranny, to not get banned every time they say a man can't be a woman. We can actually have truthful opinions and not get banned for it. So we finally have a chance to start convincing people that what they see on the news isn't real. That's not the real world. They don't have that support. That's why every one of these news outlets have been getting paid by USAID. That's why all these news outlets, whether you look at the Seattle Times, whether you look at the New York Times, all of these news outlets have been getting paid by the government to spread bullshit propaganda. And they come out and say, oh, we weren't really getting paid. It's just, no. The government was providing free subscriptions to all of these news outlets, basically guaranteeing a bottom line subscription base. And also, once they get enough of them, they can say, hey, I don't like that article that you wrote about this, so maybe we'll pull our subscriptions. So maybe you should check your voice. That's bought and paid for media. That's propaganda. That's Soviet Union communist bullshit that we need to end. So that's why I helped start the Patriots Prayer Network. That's why little old me from Washington State, from a town of 2,500 people, is going to be going to Washington, D.C. next week. And I finally get a chance to interview some of these bigwigs. I might wear sleeves, probably. I might just wear this shirt and jeans. But I'm going to interview some of these people and finally give, hopefully, a good representation of the everyday American sentiment on how we feel in this country. Because I'll tell you what, we've been getting screwed over for a long time. Our public servants haven't been public. They've been private for far too long. They've been doing backroom deals. They've been paying these news outlets. So everything we see is fake. All the support that they have is fake. It is bought and paid for by the communists in the background, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, the swamp. They've been paying these news outlets to give you a false reality. to make it seem like they have more support than they actually do. That's why when you go out and you talk to regular people, they don't have that feeling. And they're questioning everything that they see because it's not real. It's fake. And I know that I'm not in the minority in this country. I'm in the majority. I'm in the majority of Americans that believe that skin color shouldn't fucking matter. That I'm tired of saying that we should pay black Americans for shit that happened hundreds of years ago. I'm tired of believing that having Native American representation, the Land O'Lakes lady, Mia, the Redskins, or Savage Arms, or what is it? Red Man Chew, all that stuff, all that shit where they canceled all Uncle Ben's, Aunt Jemima, all of this representation of minorities is supposedly racist, but all I see is removal of representation. Not allowed to see a Native American, otherwise that's racist. Or you see a black man, oh, that's racist. But we can keep Mr. Clean. We can keep the KFC guy, the Colonel. We can keep the brawny man. We can keep all of these other white representatives in logos, but you can't have Native Americans. You can't have black people. None of that shit should matter. I want to see that representation. One of the schools that I went to, we were the Warriors, right? We had a Native American with a chief, and then Washington State made it illegal, unless you were directly tied to a tribe, to have a Native American logo in your school. Issaquah, up near Seattle, they had Native American representation. I mean, listen to the name, Issaquah. That's a Native American name. But they can't have a logo of a Native American because that's racist. Now, the only time you see Native American representation is at the damn casino where they're stealing your money. Or at the freaking pot shops on the res. Talk about giving us a bad look. The only time you see a totem pole is at the fucking casino? Are you kidding me? Why not have it at a school and have a whole bunch of kids learn about the history of the Native Americans? Like real history, not Native Americans were genocided and did nothing. No. How about we learn about what the Comanches did? The badass Comanche warriors that learned how to fight on horseback better than anybody in history. Where they would, or what would happen in the, you know what they used to call the full moon in Comanche territory? They called it the Comanche moon. You know why? Because the Comanche would raid camps at night under the full moon, and they would slaughter everybody. It was horrific. When they say savages, some of them lived up to the name. They were terrifying warriors that fought guerrilla warfare tactics and were very brutal. And you better hope that you got killed by the Comanche during that raid, because if they captured you, you had a far worse death, because they celebrated new techniques on how to torture people. A couple of the ways, they would bury you up to your neck. They would cut off your eyelids and let you burn in the sun. Or they'd wrap you in not dried leather and leave you in the fields. So as that leather starts to dry out, it constricts. It sucks the moisture from your body and it constricts, and you slowly suffocate and die. Or they'd light you on fire, or they would skin you alive. There were horrific Native American techniques to torture people. But for some reason, everybody just thinks that it was all rainbows and hippies, tree hugging and loving on rainbows while the white man came in and kicked our teeth in. That's not what happened. I want to teach about real Native American history, the brutal aspects of it, the warrior side, where they would rather die than give up their land. They said, there were so many tribes that said that I would rather die than give up my land. That's honorable. Even though they knew they were outgunned and outmanned, and all the surrounding tribes hated them too. So they decided to team up with the white man to take out that tribe. There's so much Native American history that isn't taught because we're just told that the white man came over and wiped us all out. It's so irritating to me because it makes my ancestors look like pussies. They weren't. A lot of them were badasses. And now we're to the point that while the natives will sit on the reservation living in their little socialist hellholes and drink themselves to death, or or get into drugs and gang violence and listen to this fucking rap music and pretend that they're so oppressed because they're a minority and they got put on this reservation. There's nothing else to do. Meanwhile, they drop out of school, they join a gang, they do drugs, and then they drink themselves to sleep. And then for the next 20 years, they'll get free healthcare, methadone at the clinics, and waste their life away. But supposedly that's the white man's fault and not their own damn fault for making all those stupid choices because they're living in a socialist hellhole. Thank God I didn't grow up on the reservation because I got family members who ruined their fucking lives. I got a brother who I haven't spoken to in over a decade because he got involved in drug and gang violence. And he's been in and out of jail. I haven't spoke to him because I don't even know where he's at. Is he still alive? I don't know. Hopefully. He was a sweet kid, but damn! People want to act like these reservations are a great fucking place to grow up on. No, they're little socialist hellholes. They trap people, and then the woke mob takes advantage of all these people on the reservation saying that, hey, we're here to help you. You guys are oppressed. We're actually fighting for you. Meanwhile, USAID decides to ship money all over the world for all these bullshit reasons. While our people suffer, while Americans suffer, $59 million in 1 week to house illegal criminal aliens in New York City alone. But I'm supposed to be upset that the Redskins are a racist representation of Native Americans. They got everybody all worked up about stupid shit. Now, I do think that having our representations would be good, but a lot of that stuff is distractions for what they're actually doing so they can hide their own corruption. And I'm so tired of it. That's why I'm rooting for Elon Musk. That's why I'm rooting for Doge. This is exactly what we voted for, to expose the bullshit corruption and hopefully bring attention to places like Washington State. Now that we know that these Social Security numbers have been being used thousands, if not tens of thousands of times, check the universal mail-in ballot states, a place like Washington State. Make sure our voting is legit, because it sure doesn't feel that way when I go out and I speak to the truckers and I speak to the workers and all the various people that I see, the construction workers, all the various people that I meet, and they're saying this is bullshit. I can't live this way. I make 100 and something grand a year and I can't live. I can't afford groceries. It's crazy here. And we can't vote our way out of it. And now the fucking Democrats here just decided that they don't even need a supermajority anymore. They just need a majority. They need 51 out of 100 of the senators to be able to vote to pass shit into law. And our stupid governor, Bob Ferguson, now just got voted in. Won't even take a press conference. He'll need 48 hours to prepare for any press conference. Needs the questions ahead of time. You know what that tells me? That tells me that he's dishonest. That tells me that he needs to craft a particular narrative in order to put the right message out. It's deceptive and it's gross. Our government in Washington State is not representative of the people. We are being screwed over here. And yes, the cartels have definitely moved on to reservations. They've been running reservations, for one, because they can partially look the part, and for two, because they make a lot of money selling drugs. Because all of these Native Americans on the reservations have been tricked into believing that they're victims. And so they need to... And the way to rebel is to join a gang and do drugs and all this bullshit. Instead of actually buying a plot of land. Like I went out and I bought land, right? Okay. I have my own little reservation. I got a couple acres, and as far as I'm concerned, I bought some land back from the white man. I'm reclaiming territory. I'm doing more than anybody has on the reservation. Come on. Getting all worked up about this. Sorry. I get so irritated about this stuff. It is insane. In order to make drastic changes, we got to start fixing our own lives. And we got to start we need to start taking our country back. And it doesn't just end with voting for Trump. It ends with your everyday choices, where you spend your dollar. Okay? who you support, who you watch on TV, what you decide to fill your brain with. And I hope that I've inspired some of you to share this. I've hoped that I can be a good representation of the voice of the everyday American. I really pray that we can change this state back, because the Swinomish people, okay, this is my great-grandfather. This is Chief Martin Sampson, okay? That's my aunt there. We've been here for thousands of years, as far as I know. And everybody tells me that I should flee this state and that I should give up on it because it's taken over by communist pedophiles, satanic evildoers. And in a lot of ways, that's true. But I feel like I shouldn't abandon my people. I shouldn't abandon my neighbors and allow who knows how many children to be sterilized and mutilated through this gender-affirming care. I feel like this is the battleground that needs to be taken to. I feel like if I went to somewhere like Oklahoma, they voted 100% for Trump, every county, 100%. I feel like that territory is already won, and I don't need to move to an echo chamber. I need to move to a place. I need to be in a place where maybe I can make a drastic change. Maybe I can inspire some people to change their mind on the way that we see our rights, the way that we see the relationship between government and the people, the way our public servants operate. That should be scrutinized by the public. They should have their transactions, their backroom deals, all that should be public. And us as private citizens need to return to being private citizens again. We need privacy. We don't need everything looked into. We don't need $600 transactions on Venmo looked into by the government to dictate that, hey, they need tax money. Why? You don't represent me. This is taxation without representation. I have no representation in Washington State. There's a minority Republican voice in Washington State that is so tepid and scared of losing the little voters that we have that they don't stand up. They don't have the convictions that they need in order to gain voters. Because every time you see them stand up and debate, they're not saying you guys are satanic pedophiles that are actually trying to harm children. You're protecting the pedophiles and you are enabling children to be groomed. Instead of saying that, they go, well, I don't think it's exactly right that we don't have parents. The parents' rights are being slowly stripped from the books here, and it's not that great. No, you guys are fucking weak. Say it like it is. They're pedophiles, man. They're literal groomers that are protecting by law groomers and pedophiles. That's evil. They're saying that if you are 13 years old, if you're old enough to get pregnant, you're old enough to consent. That's the mainstream Democratic Senate Majority Leader, Jamie Peterson in Washington State, is arguing that puberty equals consent. It's sick. And we got people worrying about Taylor Swift and the Super Bowl and all this bullshit, which, you know what? Everybody deserves a right to sit back. But hey, get this fucking message out, man. Washington State has lost it, and we have no representation, and there's no way for us to fix this till we fix our voting system. So can we please look into these Social Security numbers and the registered voters here in Washington State? Because I bet if we were able to look into it, that we'd find some fishy Social Security numbers that register to vote, because we lose by a lot. And I know it's not the crazies in Seattle, because I know some Seattleites who lean left that even thought that a lot of this shit is getting out of control. I just have such a hard time believing that there's so many lost people out there, or that there's, I mean, maybe we really are the state that just is a sanctuary for pedophiles. Maybe we really are, which would just, it just breaks my heart. But it's tough. We're going to have to see. If I ran for office, I've definitely thought about it. But in Washington State, I'm not sure. I feel like I'd be more constrained than anything. But at least I'd be able to stand up. And you know what? I'm kind of hoping that we... let's see what comes out of Saturday when I go to the rally. Hopefully I can meet some people and get some things moving, because we're broken as a state. And as far as I'm concerned, the Republicans are weak. They're too tepid. They don't want to step on people's feelings. They're too scared about being called a Nazi or a racist. I've been called all those things. I ain't worried about it. Call me whatever the fuck you want. I'm going to stand up for what's right. I don't care if you like me. I'm going to fight for what's right. I'm going to fight for our rights, our God-given rights, and it's the government's responsibility to uphold and protect those rights, not to infringe upon them. We've really got to change that. So, I don't know. We'll see what comes out of this rally. We'll see what I can do to, I guess, start talking to some of those people who are in Washington State politics. So, well, I'll start asking around and I'll see what we can do, because it would be good for the RNC to do an audit. But like I said, the Republicans here, from what I've seen, and I've criticized them plenty of times because I just see them as weak. They're still trying to appeal to like this boomer fucking, we're going to lower taxes and it's going to be, we're going to have a grand old time. No. We need to start calling out these fucking insane communist radicals on the left for what they are. They're advocating for pedophilia now, not explicitly, but when you mix puberty and consent, sure seems like there's an end goal tied to that. That isn't exactly what you're saying it is. You can't say that a 13-year-old can consent to medical decisions, lifelong altering medical decisions, when they can't even go see an R-rated movie without parental consent, but they can go get sterilized. They can't buy a Monster Energy drink or a lighter or spray paint. They can't vote. They can't drive. They can't do anything except get sterilized, except go get opposite sex hormones without parental knowledge or consent. Maybe run away from home, be housed in a pedophile's home, or a host home for runaway children. Insane. State-sanctioned kidnapping, state-sanctioned sterilization. They are stripping the rights away from parents. They want to co-parent and they want to grant groomers and pedophiles more rights over the children than parents themselves. It's disgusting, and it needs to end. Says, I'm in Southwest Washington after moving from Portland years ago. I cannot believe the extreme garbage being pushed on us in Washington State. I can't either. Every time I see these people speak out about their policies, it blows my mind that it is even being tolerated. I don't know why this guy isn't being investigated right now. This Jamie Peterson guy. I don't know why he's not being investigated. I don't know why he's still in office. I don't know why he's the Senate Majority Leader, because that alone, that statement that he made, should get him kicked out of Congress for good. He should be barred from serving as a public representative ever again. He's advocating for children at 13 years old to be able to consent. There should be no room in our society for this. None. And Republicans in Washington State, start calling these people out for what they are. They are grooming pedophiles. It's gross. Yeah, they won't investigate themselves. You're right, Ronnie. You're right. So hopefully I can meet someone this weekend and get some shit moving, because it just can't be tolerated anymore. There's no reason for us to tolerate this. And I know that like I said, I'm not in the minority here. I'm in the majority of parents who will see this as evil, especially when somebody has a spine to stand up and say it. To say that these Democrats are advocating for pedophilia. When you advocate for children at 13, as long as if they're old enough to get pregnant, then they can consent. They're advocating for pedophilia. And that guy, Jamie Peterson, he is a Boy Scout leader. He's taken kids to pride events, which I already showed you what the pride events in Seattle look like. It's terrible. So maybe I can yell at some of the Republicans and get the rhetoric ramped up to what it should be, because I'm so tired of the boomer arguments. I'm tired of we're going to lower taxes, and the Democrats have said each time that they're not going to raise taxes, but they keep raising taxes. Yeah, they fucking lied. They've been lying to us. Start calling them out. Trump did it. That's why Trump is so popular, because he actually said what needed to be said. When the Bush was up on stage, and he points out in the crowd after he got booed, and he said, those are all his donors. That's why they're not happy with me. He's like, I don't need their money. Those are all his donors. Well, guess what, guys? I don't need their money. I make my own money. Not a lot, but I make my own. And man, the era of Republicans versus Democrats is over. So it's now patriots versus commies. These satanic, ball-worshipping, lefty commie pedophiles. I mean, you don't hate these people enough. And like I said, that view held by Jamie Peterson is not. He does not represent a fringe part of the Democratic Party. He is the representative of the Democratic Party. This is what they all feel. And now they're getting bold enough to say it out loud. So, wish me luck at the rally this weekend. We'll be back Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And next week, I should mention this before I go. Next week, we are flying out to D.C. With the Patriots Prayer Network. It'll be me, Steve, and Eddie, at least. We will be at CPAC interviewing all the bigwigs. If you wanted to donate that to help alleviate the travel and everything, you can go to givesendgo.com/ppn. We have raised $1,450. We set the goal to $10,000. We probably don't need $10,000, but big ask. So I appreciate the donations, you guys. Each cent will help. So it's givesendgo.com/ppn. That will help our travel expenses down and help alleviate the cost, because we don't have a ton of big sponsors or anything, although that Shop with America looks promising in the future. And I'm excited. I'm excited to interview all these bigwigs and see what they have to say about what's going on in our country, and hopefully get some real answers from these people and give a perspective from an everyday American. So I'm really looking forward to that. You guys, it is time for me to go be a father and husband again. I'm going to step back and go read a book to my son, eat some dinner, and then probably pass out not too long. But Steve should be back on Wednesday. Hopefully he's feeling better by then. Sorry he wasn't here, but I had a good time yelling at the camera today and interacting with you guys. I appreciate all the comments. So if you can, please share this podcast. And I guess we'll see you Wednesday. And you guys, if you can, support American companies, whether it be with your wallet, with your voice, whatever it is. Start supporting American companies again. We're not only going to make America healthy again, but we're going to make it great again and voting with our dollar every single day. God bless you all. God bless America. I'll see you on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the next episode of the Cowboys and Indians podcast. Once again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you and good night.
Dusty plains and broken dreams. Cowboys and Indians on the same team. We got no masters, only our creed to break the chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, wild and free. Bows and arrows, cold 45's decree. No more tyranny, no more lies. Under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night. Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near. We'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite. Horses thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might. Strength in numbers, strength in right.